Welcome back to the channel, boys. Fabloonski's coming at your neck with this 100 Intellect Way of the Sharpshooter build. Now, my goal of this build is honestly to get my super as much as possible with some of the perks I have on Way of the Sharpshooter. Obviously, my weapon Bad Juju and some of the mods I have on my armor. So let's go ahead and break it down. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, my subclass of choice is Way of the Sharpshooter. Some of the perks on it, I got the weighted throwing knife. Now, whenever I get a precision kill with it, it actually completely recharges it, so there's no cooldown. Entering a trance whenever you land multiple precision hits is going to reduce the cooldown of my super, so that's part of the reason why I'm trying to get my super as much as possible. This is one of the perks that's going to help me to do so, since I'm using Bad Juju. Every time I land, it's like a burst weapon, so each bullet is going to count towards that cooldown. Another interesting thing of this subclass is whenever I pop my super, whenever I have 20 seconds or more remaining of the knock 'em down buff, it actually increases the damage of my super. And this super also does precision damage, also generates orbs of light. Doing damage with it also extends the duration. So this is a pretty good boss depleting or boss deleting super, I should say. Being able to land 3 rapid precision golden gun hits is going to do some major damage to some of these bosses. Now, as for my loadout for this, since I like to take my builds into the nightfall, I'm using Bad Juju because this really plays into my goal of this build of getting my super back as much as possible. You guys already know that as long as you stack up string of curses, each time you stack it up is going to give you more and more super energy for as long as you keep stringing together these kills. So it really plays into my goal, trying to get my super back as much as possible. Bad Juju is the best gun for those type of builds. We're also running an arc fusion rifle because there's a lot of arc shields. I also have Vorpal weapon on it to help deal with some of the champions. And then we got falling guillotine to help deal with boss damage. Now, as for my stats, we got 47 mobility, means my dodge is on a 22-second cooldown, which is fine. Honestly, the dodge isn't the main focus of this build. We got 25 resilience. We got 58 recovery. I'm actually pretty happy about this. I could masterwork one piece of gear just to get this, to 60. I might actually end up doing that because, I don't know. Maybe I masterwork this. I don't know. But yeah, so I have 58 recovery. I got 14 discipline, which is fine. I'm going to try and save my grenades for some of the other mods I have. I have 105 intellect. Now, this is one of the reasons why I'm going to be able to get my super back as much as possible. Just as a base cooldown of my super, I have it at 3 minutes and 48 seconds if I was to just get no kills at all. By adding in Bad Juju plus the perk on the bottom tree, Gunslinger, I'm going to be able to get this back much faster. And then we got 28 strength. But I have 2 knife charges with this exotic piece of choice. So honestly, I'm not too worried about this. So let's start with the helmet here. My first mod is Concussive Dampener, so that way I can help deal with some of the damage that's going to come towards me in any area of effect, meaning like hive boomers, the night fire pulls, anything like that. This is going to reduce the damage of that. I got enhanced scatter projectile targeting, honestly, just because I had one mod slot, throw it on there. I got fusion rifle ammo finder because I'm running a fusion rifle. And then we got supercharge, so that way I can have a maximum of 4 stacks of charge with light as opposed to just 2. This is going to play into the fact of trying to get my super back as much as possible. I have some other mods that are going to be able to help me do so as well. So being able to have 4 stacks as opposed to 2 is really going to help me out there. Now on my arms, I'm running Intellect mod to help get that cooldown down as much as possible. We got enhanced pulse rifle loader because I'm running a pulse rifle and Bad Juju. Now we got unstoppable pulse rifle burst, so that way I can use Bad Juju because otherwise you wouldn't be able to use an exotic in the nightfall. And then we got shield break charge, just so I can become charged light whenever I destroy a combatant shield with the matching energy type. And I did end up masterworking it. I had to. Now I have 60 recovery. Let me look at it. I have 60 recovery, and then I also have 30 strength. Now onto my exotic piece of choice. Now we're using ophidia spathe. The perk that comes on is Scissor Fingers, grants 2 knives per charge. Honestly, you could have run any exotic, well, not any exotic, but if you want to run like Celestial Nighthawk, you can. I just picked this one because I have a mod that's going to greatly enhance the damage of my melee. So I want to see if I can, utilize that as much as possible. Now, as for my mods, we got an Intellect mod, so that way I can reduce the cooldown further. And then we got counter charge, so that way we become charged with light whenever anybody on my fire team or myself staggers a champion, disrupts a champion, or pierces a champion's barrier. I become charged with light. And this is, even if it takes 2 times to disrupt the champion or stagger the unstoppable champion, I become charged with light every time that happens. So this is a really good mod to have in some of the in-game content. On my legs, we're running another Intellect mod to further reduce the cooldown of my super. Now we're running double enhanced sword scavenger, so that way I get the most ammo possible from picking up a heavy brick. and then we got charged up so that way I get one more stack of charge with light. Now I can have a maximum of 5 stacks as opposed to 4. This is really going to help me with getting my super back as much as possible. I'm a big fan of these mods, big fan of getting my super back, so this right here plays into the next mod I'm about to show you. And on my hunter cloak we got solar plexus. Now this is what I was talking about earlier, the reason why I picked ophidia spathe, because what solar plexus does is it increases the damage of all solar melee abilities. I also gain super energy from performing a finisher with a solar subclass equipped. Now I'm using a solar subclass, so both these perks that come with this mod plays heavily into what I'm trying to obtain here with getting my super back as much as possible. And then we're also running energy converter, so whenever I pop my grenade while having stacks of charge with light, it consumes those stacks and then I get super energy up to a maximum of 50% of my super energy. So again, this whole build revolves around getting my super back as much as possible, with solar plexus increasing the solar damage of my melee ability and getting super energy performing a finisher with a solar class equipped. Plus I have 5 stacks of charge with light possible, using energy converter to consume those stacks, giving me up to 50% of my super energy, and then using bad juju to fill up the rest of that. Plus I have high intellect, actually I have 100 intellect, so yeah, everything. Oh, and not to mention the perk on the Gunslinger class, so that way as long as you're landing precision hits, I'm going to be able to get my super back even more. So this whole build is just revolving around getting your super back as much as possible, being able to use the golden gun, delete some of these bosses, some of these tankier targets. I'm really excited to try it out. So as this first clip is playing in the background, I want you guys to just take a look at my super bar and just watch how fast it fills over this course of this first clip, because honestly, like, after this first engagement, having your super is just so valuable, and this can honestly go for any type of first encounter or anything in some of the harder strikes or dungeons or whatever. Just being able to have your super so quickly and so available or readily available in the beginning of the activity is so valuable, because as soon as there's a threat or any type of tankier target, you can just completely delete them from the game with your super. Being able to regenerate your super this quickly also allows for your teammates to get orbs of light, which allows them to get their super, and it's just a chain reaction. Now honestly, I didn't think I was going to be able to get my super as fast as I did. I believe that at the end of this first clip, I think it's around like a minute or a little over a minute I got my super. So as you guys can see, even though you have 100 intellect with this build, I think that 100 intellect cooldowns like 3 minutes and like 20 seconds or something like that, but getting it in a minute just because you're getting kills with bad juju, you're using grenades and stuff like that, getting heavy kills, like there's just so much going for it, getting your super back, and honestly it was a lot of fun. And you don't strictly have to run ophidia spathe. That's the one thing I do like about this build, is that there's some leeway for versatility or uniqueness. Like let's say if you want to run Celestial Nighthawk, it'll work perfectly fine with Celestial Nighthawk. Or if you want to run 6 Coyote, get double charges of your dodge. Or if you want to run I don't know, Assassin's Cow. Like there's so many different options with this build, because it's all just about getting the super back. It's not tied down to a specific exotic armor piece. If anything, it's just tied down to bad juju, which is fine. You can honestly work around that, but if you want to use Celestial Nighthawk, 6 Coyote, go right ahead. That's the beauty of this build, is that you can use whatever exotic piece you want and you're still going to get the same effects. Now if you want to do something for more like the raid, I would suggest Celestial Nighthawk. But honestly, it's okay either way. Celestial Nighthawk is really good, but if you don't want to run it, if you want to run 6 Coyote for the double dodges, then go right ahead. If you want to use something like the gambler, or not the gambler's dodge, the marksman dodge, to be able to get that reload with, like, I don't know, a grenade launcher or something like that, like you don't have to run Celestial Nighthawk. There's so many options, because it doesn't matter, a super is still a super. You're still going to do crazy amounts of damage. So I highly recommend it. Find the build that works for you. Use whatever exotic you want. Obviously it has to be able to work with the super. You're not going to want to use like what's the one for bottom tree Night Stalker, what is it, Orpheus Rigs. Obviously you're not going to run that, or you're not going to run like is it Lucky Raspberry? Yeah, Lucky Raspberry. Like you're going to want to use one that works for the super, but find one that does and try it out. Find your own unique build and let me know what you guys think. But if you guys like this content, please like, subscribe, and share. It really helps me out a lot. You can also check out my other videos. Links are in the description below. I have a lot of crazy builds, so go ahead and check that out. And you might as well follow my social media. I have a Twitter and an Instagram, both at @fat_bloonskis. But with all that being said, deuces.